our beautiful world. All things considered, from small to big, there exist so many things that are so interesting that they should be absolutely worshipped by people. And as a nerd with a high proficiency, I would probably opt for math and science from all of them. Truly, tackling questions that stimulate your brain in a good way is a remarkable way of spending time, but in all honesty, I'm probably not the best at it. When it comes to comparison between me and the actual geniuses of our world, I would say that it is as if you're comparing Tony Stark to the monkey that learned how to use the stick. And learning that there was an actual controversy on the IMO this year made me think, if these guys had problems solving it, what monster of the question is this? Man, I definitely gonna try this. Maybe I'll actually get some cool concepts to work. It took me 8 minutes. You've seen the title of the video, let's get straight into the problem here. So, we have a snail called Turbo, and he wants to play a game. There is a 2024 rows by 2023 columns grid and 2022 monsters present in it. Turbo doesn't know where the monsters are, but he knows one thing. There is exactly one monster in each row, except for the first and last ones. That means that in each column there would be at most one monster respectively. Turbo starts at the top, can move into any chosen side, and his target is to go to the bottom of the grid. If he does it, the game is over. If he confronts the monster, however, he f***ing dies! But since he has some connections up there, he's been revived each time, now with the knowledge that the monster is located at the specific area. So the question is, what is the minimum number of deaths with which Turbo will be able to accomplish his goal and go to the bottom of the grid no matter what? I'll give you exactly 10 seconds to think before saying the answer. It's 2. And as usual, I'm sure that there might be more than one solution, but it's rather complex, so let's just go with the easier and more intuitive one. We start from the top and take our first step to the bottom of the grid. Then, sometime later, we meet our first monster and go back to the top. Sure, at the beginning it might seem as we don't get that much information from that, but it's not the case, since now we know that the given row and column is free of any monsters. Hence, finding a way to get below the monster would be the end of our solution. Now, we must look at two cases, when the monster is located at the border tile and when he's not. The easier one being without the border condition, since then the algorithm is simple. You look to find the first monster, that way opening the monster-free row and column, and then try to go around him. If you will do it from the first try without finding any other monsters, well, that's cool. One try sounds pretty optimal to me, but we still need to look at the amount of tries that would be applicable to all the cases. So let's consider that you face the monster once again. That way, you'll be able to find another row and column that is monster-free, making the way to the bottom of the grid easily visible and accessible. Now, that might sound like an already pretty good solution, but there's a problem. What if the monster is located at the border of the grid? Well, then the way to go above it might be more complicated than that. Not too complicated though. Since there would be only one way to go around the monster, and there is a considerable probability of that tile being closed by another monster, we need to make another method to pass through. So we move one tile in the other direction and move diagonally to the bottom. If there are no monsters on the way, we'll just go straight to the bottom. If we meet up with another monster, however, he'll create a passage to the other monster-free column given to us from the first acknowledged monster. And yeah, that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Pretty simple, huh? Now, as we're talking in this perspective, I want to talk about the controversy around it. So, there is really not particularly much that should be stated in this portion of the video, rather, there is one really important sentence that highlights that idea. When you solve something hard, you forget about the easy. As we already know, IMO is widely considered one of the hardest math Olympiads. Only the most polished, most talented, and most genius students are capable of participating. And they are not just picked by random from an elite private school or something, no. Usually, these guys are training for literal ages to be able to show their skills in other Olympiads leading to IMO, so that they would only have a chance at being considered. That much effort from the side of participants usually means very high expectations of the Olympiad, therefore of the problems in it. And with all that said, imagine their faces when they come up to the second day trial and the problem number 5 out of 6 is the basic logic and common sense. No, seriously, it's trivial up to the point when there is completely no mathematical elegance put into it. Sure, it's pretty interesting to spend your free time solving it, such as I'm doing right now, but there is no way that it should be added to the most prestigious math Olympiad of all times. Sorry if I'm being too gnarly or something, it's just my opinion. You can share yours in the comments, by the way, that's greatly appreciated. Ending this portion in 3, 2... Element of surprise! Haha! Now all of you already slept or awake! I'm a genius. So, a few words before ending, I guess. IMO is still the best Olympiad out of them all. Sure, there might be some weird cases with a problem such as this one, but it doesn't mean that all of them are easy. For example, I absolutely loved problem 6 on this year's IMO, as it actually requires a person to know quite a lot and generally is very interesting at solving. Aside from problem 5, almost everyone remained satisfied with the Olympiad as well. So I guess the higher-ups will look at this and be able to learn from their mistakes, so it's not completely pointless. Well, now I'm empty. Nothing more to add. Well, maybe one thing. To all of you math enthusiasts out there, always stay as curious and awesome as you are right now. And remember, when you face a hard problem, you can always find a free N+1 solutions to it. Just need to be determined enough. Well, that's it. See ya. Bye.